Well, I got the estimate for my truck. It's a doozy. This week has been an interesting week, not just with the transmission in the truck or the clutch failing, but just with other things going on too. Talking to some people, just a buddy of mine just bought a new truck, got his own authority, and just the general goings-ons of the trucking world. I'm in my pickup now. I'm going to run up north and try to find some breakfast, but I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about what's going on and having a little foresight into what you're doing, and, you know, talking about that there's, doggone it, I had the word. You're thinking two steps ahead. And I get the truck up there, and it was pretty screwed up. But for everybody said, no, the clutch didn't go out. The clutch did go out. You can have a bad clutch that still works. But they cleaned it up, and they were like, oh, no, we can make it work. And I'm like, no, let's not. They actually got it to function and this and that and the other thing, and thankfully no springs fell out this time. And they're like, you know, we just fixed the rear pinion because that's seeping, and send you on your way and you can kill. I said, no, absolutely not. I said, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to end up back here in 6 weeks putting a clutch in. So we got an estimate, and it's a doozy. So right now the estimate stands at $7,227 and some odd cents. I know a couple of you be like, oh, you could get that done for... Stop. Let's not have this conversation, because I'm going to tell you why it's so high. They put in a clutch kit into the estimate. We're going to do a clutch brake, of course. Nobody will warranty a clutch without resurfacing the flywheel. So while that's out, you might as well take a look at the rear main and have that done. Then, of course, it's going to be $1,100 for the rear pinion. Now, the rear pinion was wet. It wasn't dripping, but as anybody who's dealt with rear pinions before knows, it can go from 0 to 1,000 like that. And with winter coming up and everything constricting, I didn't think I'd have too much trouble because the fluid will be thicker, but you might as well get it done while you're there, because you walk in and get an inspection. Some DOT guy might call it a drip. Some guy might ignore it. You never know. So it's best to just take care of it while you can. So what got me thinking about all this is what's known as the cost-benefit analysis. I have talked about this before, especially like when I bought the tires for the white Crown Vic versus the black and white Crown Vic. Bought the cheapest set of tires for the black and white Crown Vic. Bought probably the second most expensive tires for the white Crown Vic. And I did that because the white Crown Vic is my daily. The black and white's a toy. So you get how many miles you're supposed to run out on the tires versus what they actually cost. And per mile, the cost-benefit analysis was literally half with the more expensive set of tires. I paid $1,100 for those tires that are on the white car. The black and white, about $480. So to get the kind of usage out of the black and white tires, or purchase the white ones, I literally go through 2.5 sets before I'd have to replace the tires on the white car. So it was 3/10 of a mile versus 6/10 of a mile. Cost benefit. And this is what I got to thinking about when I made my decision on what to repair on the truck and what kind of clutch to use. So what is cost benefit? Well, what's the cost versus the benefit of paying the cost? If you have, what's the benefit of me doing X, Y, and Z, and what's it going to cost me later? You know, there's a bunch of different factors, but you get the point. So, what the dealer was trying to do is save me money. Here's the deal. I have come to the point in my life where when anyone has tried out of good faith to save me money, they're screwing me in the long run. If you have, I mean, there's certain times where guys are like, no, and they'll give their point of view, and if it makes sense, that's great. But if anybody thinks they're doing you a solid by saving you a little time and saving you a little money, but you know instinctively this is what needs to be done, what's the cost-benefit analysis? So let's break down what happened at the dealer. What's the cost-benefit of me getting the pinion seal done? All right, we break that down. Was it leaking? Probably might have stayed that way for the life of the truck. You never know. But say like it goes out so, and I got to get it fixed on the road. Well, I can get that fixed at a truck stop. So instead of $1,100, I'm down a day and it's $2,000. Or I got to get it fixed on the road at a Kenworth or something like that. Or it just goes out, dumps the fluid everywhere, and we've got to get a tow and a wash and maybe a rear end. I mean, pinion seals are funny like that. So I decided I was going to fix this on my time. So cost benefit says, while I am spending the money now, Euro Asian Bob always has nice stuff. While I'm spending the money now, it's going to save me later, you know? And that's kind of with that. Well, what about the clutch? They said, oh, no, it's just this, and we can fix this, and we'll have you. No, what's the benefit? Well, I lost a bit of work. Now, I'm at a point where I can get everything done. So, I could have done this a lot cheaper. I could have had a cheaper clutch put in with an external adjustment instead of being internally adjusted or automatically adjusted, you know, manual. So what does that cost? Well, I'll tell you about that. When you go in for a clutch adjustment during your service, that's a completely different procedure. That's not part of the service. So they're going to write up a separate ticket for that, and you're going to get paid probably the minimum. Now, depending on the clutch, they might charge you an hour for it. That's $180. That's $220. Might charge you a 2-hour minimum. You never know. A lot of these mechanics have gotten kind of weird in their pricing lately. So you have the truck 4 years. You get your clutch adjusted, three times a year. All in, that ends up costing you for the life you own the truck. In 4 years, $1,000, $1,500 just in clutch adjustments. You spread that out, it doesn't sound like a lot of money. But that's but if the clutch is adjusting itself, doing what it's supposed to do, and you're driving it like a sane human being, that's $200 you're saving on every service that can go towards something else. It's just, it comes down, sometimes it does come down to nickel and dime things like that. It's a weird deal. But when you've got to think like that, you know, and truthfully, the clutch had 600,000 miles on it. So what are you going to put? You might put another $500,000 on that clutch before you sell that truck. $3 million. If you have it 2-3 years, regardless, that's going to be the last clutch you put in that truck to begin with. So what's the big deal? Save some money, get some life out of the clutch, and spend your money better. The cost benefit says that I'm going to spend basically the price of the clutch itself, adjusting it over the next 4 years. Save that money. The new Love's in Wichita is open. They did a really nice job. This place has got lots of parking, pretty good fuel pumps. They built it on the old refinery out here. This is the one part ain't nobody figured out yet, but it's back over there. They open up a Speedco and a truck wash here, and there is gobs of parking here. And I don't think anybody really knows that you can park here, either that or they're just too lazy to park back here. But when this catches on, it's going to catch on big. A lot of what gets people when you take your truck into the shop is the while you're in there stuff. That stuff costs money, and that's kind of on this bill. That's a lot of that is what's making it so expensive. The while you're in there. We're having the rear main done. I thought about it, wasn't leaking. I thought about it, and I was like, no. But then you know what? We're sitting there, we're hammering on it, we're messing with it, we're screwing with it, and I was like, you know what? We'll just go ahead, get that replaced while we're at it, run this red light, and just take care of it. So 600,000 miles was, and I said, you know, if it had only had 250 on it, or maybe 300, I would say, no, let's not screw with it. Now everybody keeps telling me I ought to get my rear structure resealed. No. If your rear structure needs resealed, you've got bigger problems. It's not leaking, and the rear structure is one of those things that if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's screwing with something like that ends up leading to bigger problems that you just don't want. So it's a double-edged sword, and that's why we're not doing that. But so we got the rear seal in there, and that's, you know, if they're out there screwing with the flywheel and all that, and then they kind of upset the balance and it starts leaking, I've got to tear all of that out again. However, if they put it all in and it starts leaking within a week or two, I bring it right back and we'll get it fixed. Now, a buddy of mine just bought himself a new truck. He's starting off his new business and own authority and all that. Buys a truck from the dealer, has the dealer do a bunch of stuff, and the truck the dealer put new tires on it. Turns out they were new recaps. And I'm not blaming my buddy for this. Don't get me wrong. This is not a slight against my buddy. New tires on the truck. You know, even though the recaps are like they're new, hopefully I can get a few miles out of these. First run blew one out. Damaged his tank, tore up his step that he paid for. He paid a lot of money to have that step put on. And he has about 9 shades of just angry. And of course the dealer is not wanting to make any of this right. Well, it's a tire. Well, this is not the first time I've heard of this happening with tires. Dealers have this thing about putting on new tires. Well, what they're really putting on is just a set of recaps they had laying around. If you buy a truck and they say they put new tires on it, it has recaps on it, go out and check the date code, If those casings are older than 5 years, you demand that dealer replace them. And if they're not, I would work into the price of the truck and have them put a brand new set of Michelins or whatever you want on there, Bridgestones, whatever makes you happy. Put a set of Virgins on there. Because I'll tell you right now, this isn't the first time I've heard this. This isn't even the second time I've heard this. These guys are putting these tires on, and within 2-3 weeks they're just blowing tire after tire after tire. And if you're gonna buy a truck and start out with some Virgin tires on there. It'll be a little more money up front, but you're not losing freight, you're not losing loads, you're not damaging your truck. You've got brand new rubber that you can depend on, and these new tires have warranties on them, and you'll be able to get a few miles down the road with just a little more peace of mind. Well, give me a minute. I'm at a place. I've got to go see a man about, stuff and things. I know a couple videos ago I had a whole thing about not buying stupid things. Well, I bought stupid things. I actually found a Striker CB. I figured it would be fun to play with, but this is the stupid thing. I bought 2 light bars. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it's a disease or something. Now, buying stupid things aside, one of the problems I have noticed, especially with new guys, is discovering the cost benefit. They don't understand it. And I was in the same boat too, Everybody there is there to help you. They don't have any skin in the game, but they're offering advice and they're offering this. You can save some money here, you can save some money there. And you have to weigh all that. You have to experiment with it. You have to try it. But the other thing is you have to be willing to lose. And that's the hardest part. When somebody says, I can save you a couple of bucks here, 90% of the time, it's going to cost you a lot. Nobody's ever saved me money, but their intentions have always been good. If you grew up in my family, the biggest insult you can say to somebody is, they mean well. That's my family's version of bless your heart. The problem with putting a cost-benefit analysis together is you're doing it for you and you specifically. And it's not going to make sense to a lot of people. It just isn't. And you're going to have people arguing with you over and over and over again about this, that, or the other thing. And you've got to stick to your guns. There's just too many people out there. And don't get me wrong, their intentions and their heart's in the right place. But they're not you. They're not spending your money. And they're not the one that has to suffer when things go bad. So, just like when I went to the dealer and I told him what clutch I wanted. I wanted a self-adjusting clutch. Dude was ready to throw down. And I sat down there and explained everything and what I wanted. But here's the other thing, is right after that, I got the best compliment I've ever gotten. So I called up and gave them the approval once I got the estimate done. And he says, your truck is really clean. So what do you mean? He's like, it's dry, it's clean. He said, it's taken care of, it's put together. I said, it has to be. And that was a great compliment. But it has to be. It has to make me money. It has to perform. It's true. I'm losing some money sitting here. I could be, some people probably think I'm sitting here losing my butt here. But I'll tell you right now, if I had just done the patch-up job, I'd be back in the shop in 6 to 8 weeks. Getting the clutch done. And then, whatever else, if I tell you, I might be back in the shop again. It's just, you have to sit there and balance. Yes, I'm spending a lot of money now, and I'm losing a lot of money in potential revenue. But if I break down on the road, what's it going to cost me? Plus the hotel. What's the long-term effect? Well, I get 2 weeks off work because, well, that's a long story. But I also am not going to get a week off work on the road in a hotel. I'm not going to miss that, I'm not going to get that load taken off me. I'm not going to get that. Oh, now, don't get me wrong, I got the load taken off me for this load. But it happens. But everything else is working out. So, with luck, it'll work out and I won't be broke down in 6 weeks. I stress this over and over and over again. And this is where your cost benefit comes in. Guys and gals, don't be cheap. Don't cut corners, If somebody's telling you they could save you money, but it's not exactly what you want, or you feel uneasy about it, don't do it. Do what you think you need to do to be successful in your business. And you're going to make a lot of people unhappy. And sometimes your decision making will be wrong. It's not it might be wrong, it will be wrong. There will be decisions you make that were bad. But let me tell you this. It was your decision. You consciously made this decision and you stuck by it. And that's not a bad thing. And if it didn't work out, it doesn't work, and you can make another decision to correct it. And this is life. This is what life is. But at the end of the day, you made a decision, you stuck by it, and the next one you make, it's going to be that much better. So as for my buddy, he's pretty bummed, but he got it fixed. And he's on to his thing, man. That's just... And it's not just the tire blew, it's that he spent a lot of money putting his business together. And like anyone, he wants it to go smoothly. But it's going to go, He's just getting things done and he's figuring out the wrinkles. So, yeah. But as for your cost-benefit analysis, you need to figure that into everything. Your cost-benefit analysis is going to figure into everything from how you service your truck to where you fuel up and when you fuel up. Time, distance, money, tax, place, everything factors into it. And as the deeper you get into this business, you're going to realize that in a lot of cases, you've been fed a line of crap, man. That's not even a joke. You've been fed a line. And there's a lot of stuff that everybody's been hammering and preaching and beating into your head. You're going to find out there was really no need for it. It was just from their experience. But their experience isn't your experience. There's a lot of overlap, but there's also a lot of singularity, I guess would be the word. Maybe. I'll look it up. So you just kind of have to... I always say this, take it with a grain of salt and figure it out. Getting deeper and deeper into the owner-operator gig has been quite an adventure. And it's been a rewarding one. I haven't made it all the way yet. I don't have my own authority and all that, but maybe someday I will. But that day will just have to come at a later date. The old adage, you got to spend a little money to make a little money. Nothing has been truer than in the owner-operator realm. Everything costs money. Everything costs a lot of money. And why I've been bringing up cost-benefit is because it's so vitally important to spend your money in the right places. I cheap out a lot when it comes to my own personal cars and stuff. You've seen the crap I drive. But I only drive these things once a month. That truck gets driven every day. Thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. And it's so vitally important you spend your money where it counts. And if where you want to spend your money doesn't align with somebody else's way of thinking, screw them. It's not their money, it's your money. And likewise, if your boss owns the truck and he wants to spend his money in a way that seems stupid, let him. It's not your truck. Don't ever tell the boss where to spend his money. Just drive the truck. That's my best advice there. But when it comes right down to it, if you know where to spend the money, you spend the money where you believe it needs to be spent. If you got to sit there and argue with somebody, argue with them. Now, here's the thing. If they have a very valid reason, but they're giving you a choice, these people are being sincere. If they're just being insulting, just keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, you'll make mistakes, but a lot of times it'll save you in the end. So what's my whole point of this video? My whole point is to be accountable, make good decisions, and if they're bad decisions, figure out how to turn them around into good decisions. I want you guys to know you have options out here. So many companies give you the illusion, but you really don't have any real options. This is your business, and it's your business alone. I run my business the best way I see fit. Sometimes it involves me sitting a day. Sometimes it involves me sitting 2 weeks. I had a bunch of things that needed to get fixed on the truck, so instead of nickel and diming them out, we hashed it out, and it's all happening at once. And you know what? I'm going to be good for another 6 months. Fingers crossed. And we'll worry about the other stuff later, because everything else is just details. As you sit there and take control of your business, your life, and the things around you, you're going to find that you don't need a lot of the people who claimed they needed you or you needed them. You're going to find that you're going to be a whole lot more self-sufficient. You're going to find who your real friends are. And you're going to become vastly unpopular with a lot of people. But hear me out. It's your butt on the line. It's your money. It's your decision making. No matter how these people influenced you, at the end of the day, you're still on the hook for whatever happens. So, if you're going to be on the hook, like I said, make sure it's your decision. That's what I'm getting at. Cost-benefit analysis. Was it worth being on the hook? You're going to find a lot of times it is. Does it suck? Absolutely. But there's a lot of reward in there too. So I'm getting at. I'm trying to be positive here, guys. And you don't figure this out overnight. You're going to have a lot of bumps. You're going to have some trouble. You're going to make some very unpopular decisions. People are going to tell you that you're wasting your money. But you know what? It's your money to waste. You want to waste your money? Go waste your money. Have fun. And you know what? Do things the way you believe they need to be done. I've had a lot of people ask me for advice here. I tell them how I would do it. But at the end of the day, I tell them, a lot of times I just tell them, look, I can't. Because one, I don't have enough information. And two, these are decisions that you just have to make based on your particular circumstance. And it sounds like I'm copping out. Sometimes I am, but a lot of times I'm not, because, hey,
man, you got to crawl before you walk. But once you start walking, you need to learn how to run. And it takes time. Didn't get this way overnight, but if you're willing to put in the time, I think you can do it. So keep your chin up, guys. Keep pushing towards the finish line. We're out here to make money. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're out here to make money. We're out here to have adventure. We're out here for whatever reason you're out here for. Do your best. Let your decision making be yours. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And if you make a decision that's unpopular, screw them. Seriously. It's not their money. It's yours. Stand by your decision making. And if you truly believe in what you're doing, you're not going to be wrong. So, well, even if you are, you made a decision. And it was yours and yours alone. So, hey, in a way, you still kind of won. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there. See you next video.